I'm happy.
Lily.
What she do to her?
I did it.
Nah, that's this.
Oh,
Being
okay.
bent up against that. All right. What's up, Blueprint family? Thank you all for joining us tonight on this Friday. We finally made it to the weekend. Thank you all for joining us. Congratulations. That's another weekend. Much needed weekend. Long work week.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I can't. Let me
Oh,
see.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, you could read it.
Yep.
Ow.
It's in everyone's favorite couple.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, we do this for y'all, so that's a good thing.
Yep.
Because the feeling is mutual.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's the brother that called in the other night. We thank you. I don't know if you saw the last video, but I wanted to tell you that you don't mind it. Yeah,
No.
so while you're here, I just wanted to tell you that dealing with your situation, make sure that you do, if you can, um talk to your ex, and as far as custody, try to get your son, and then if you can, let her know that you will get him without her paying child support. See what she says about that. I think that's the best thing that you can do. The fact that you live out of state, because it is difficult for you to try to get custody of your son, being the fact that you are out of state. But if you can negotiate that with her, then she shouldn't have any issues with that, being the fact that the age of your son and how much he's going to need you moving forward. So that would be my best advice for you, sir. And try to stay out of the court system as far as the custody situation. But if it gets that tense and you may need to seek legal advice, then by all means, please do so. But it is very difficult trying to get custody if she doesn't allow it, being the fact that you're out of state. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and, I guess, talk about the topic. So, our topic tonight is how to use your breakup to prepare for a successful marriage moving forward.
Yeah.
And this is regardless if you are the one who messed up, right?
Mhm.
So even if you've messed up in the past relationship, it is important to try to get yourself together, get yourself whole, healed, dealing with your traumas from a bad breakup, and move forward. Because this, you don't know what a good relationship often at times until you're actually in it. It's tried and tested, and you don't know the outcome of that relationship, and a lot of times it does end up in a separation or you a breakup.
Yeah.
So here tonight for Marriage Fit Friday, we're going to talk about how to rebound from that and how to be able to prepare yourself for a successful marriage,
Yeah. Rebound in the right way.
right, in a productive, positive way, so that you're
Yeah.
ready for the next person that may come along.
Yeah. Yep, that's so true. It was, of course, inspired by a great question that will kind of lead us into giving us a little perspective on, like, how this would play out.
Yeah.
Let me see.
And as always, so tonight we're going to show the letter on YouTube, like we do every time we have a letter or a question. We'll show the letter. And for the Instagram viewers, if you all want to see that information along with our HD sound and our HD quality, you can do so. Please do so. And also to subscribe on our YouTube channel as well. And also, too, if you all know anybody that may need this information, please let them know that we're on live right now. And then also, too, this is a live call-in show. So you're more than welcome to participate, ask questions, give comments, or join in if you have any topics or questions that you may have.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So the subject was moving on after a breakup. The message: it's been 5 months since my breakup after a 6 year long relationship. I'm taking it harder than ever because I really knew he was the one. I'm really discouraged about finding love again. It was feeling better for 1 minute, but sometimes I get hit with the paralyzing wave of feelings. It physically hurts. I'm anxious and can't identify exactly what I'm feeling. My internal voice gets very negative and screams at me instead of talking normally. I want to get through this so I can get married. My normal emotion regulation strategies, which I used to pride myself at being very, very good at, don't work. I can't find others that help much. What to do to stop these emotions holding me down after a breakup?
That's normal.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's like that borderline depression stuff. When you go through 6 years. She's been with this person for 6 years.
Mhm.
Evidently, they're not divorced. They've gone through a breakup.
Right. Yeah, this is kind of this whole night is more for the getting marriage fit in the sense of you're not married.
Right,
So certainly let's use that disclaimer because certainly it would look a little different after a divorce. But tonight we are exclusively talking about more so if you're not married and this is a breakup from just, a relationship.
right. Um, that will go. Can you go to the letter real quick?
Yeah.
Um, go back to the beginning. And sometimes we just like to pull out the red flags in this. And I think one of the red flags, first of all, is the 6 year long relationship.
Yeah.
Um, Normally, we say that you should be married after living with someone for 2 years. I don't know if they live together, but that is a long time just to be boyfriend and girlfriends. Out of being adults,
Mhm.
being over the age of 18 for 6 years and not
Yeah.
being married,
Yeah.
and having some sort of intention of being married. And normally that, and we don't, that's something that we don't condone as far as being in a long-term boyfriend girlfriend relationship.
Right. Yeah.
um and especially if you all are still living apart from
Yeah.
each other for 6 years, how will if you are ready to actually move in together and make things work? Can you all stand the test of arguing or
Right.
living with each other on a daily basis, understanding what each other habits are like and whether you all can coexist?
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things that I see here, as far as that relationship, and ultimately what possibly could have doomed it, to be
Hmm.
honest with you, was that they didn't
Progress.
get
Hmm.
closer together and being more intimate, sharing space with each other, cohabiting and learning to exist together.
Yeah, and be vulnerable because you have to be vulnerable in order to cultivate that and create that intimacy, that real level,
Right,
of intimacy that's going to lead to progression. So
right.
certainly, yeah. And people respond to breakups in a variety of ways. So I totally get how she's saying, it's a lot of emotions that come with this, and
Yeah,
that's so true.
and it's hard. I mean, if you've had multiple years of being with somebody, it
Yeah.
takes often at times multiple years to get over those feelings
Yeah.
and those triggers, and those the
Reminders.
reminders of
Hmm.
that person, the memories and all
Yeah.
of that. And she should talk about her feelings often, talk to somebody who can listen to her, and wanting to just listen, because that's the best thing that she can have as far as right now, is just someone who's willing to listen to her. That's part of the coping, as far as what I believe. Not
Yeah.
so much anyone who can give her advice, but she's decompressing from a 6 year long relationship, and a lot of that is just pouring out.
Yeah, I really encourage journaling in that
Right.
aspect, especially if you don't have anyone around to actually be with you, to listen to you. So, if you are by yourself in this moment, a journal is a great way to get those emotions out in a safe space where it's non judgmental. You can say whatever the heck you want to say, and nobody's going to judge you on that because it's just you. You certainly shouldn't judge yourself on that because that's, also a one way of self-sabotaging in a way because you need to have that the understanding with yourself in order to actually be understanding to a spouse. So you want to be sure to figure out what your emotions are. And if we just kind of break down some of the emotions, pretty much sadness, of course, this is the most common response that a person will have when it comes to a breakup. And it's important to really allow yourself to grieve at the loss of that relationship and feel those emotions, like my husband was saying, so you can process them and let them go. Because
Hmm.
if you just stuff them down, then, you're never going to be able to process them and actually go through them. And of course, some people feel angry after a breakup. That's totally normal, especially 6 years with someone. Um, you wasted a lot of time, and that the sunken cost fallacy is
Hmm.
so real, and we always talk about that on the show because that is one of the main things
Right.
that hold people back from leaving a relationship that's not going anywhere. It's because you're
Right.
like, dude, I
Oh, it
invested.
right. So people, and that's what my wife is talking about, the sunken cost fallacy. A lot of
Mhm.
it's common in relationships when you pour into somebody financially, either you pour into them emotionally or what
Yeah.
have you, and then you just can't believe that they're not acting accordingly like you want them to.
Yeah.
That's the sunken cost fallacy, and you know, understand that you can't change people. You can only inspire people to want to change,
Hmm.
and the change has to occur on their own. So
Yeah.
that is where the anger may have come from, is the
Hmm.
fact that, oh, this person ain't acting right, and
Hmm.
and I'm gonna get them, I'm gonna whip them into shape no matter
Yeah.
what. I'm gonna make them love me, and I'm gonna make them want to be with me and stop doing all the stuff that they're doing. It
Hmm.
doesn't work. That does not work. Like I said, you can only inspire them to want to change, but if they're not receptive, they're not. It ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna
Right.
happen. That's bottom line.
Right. That's why it's important to find healthy ways to express that anger that you may feel about, your spouse or the situation in general. So that, ways like exercising or journaling, that we've already kind of talked about, because you need to process those in healthy ways so you can move forward. Some people also have guilt. They feel guilty after a breakup, and this may be, due to something you did. Like if you were the one that caused, your relationship to break up, whether it's something you did or something you said, whatever the guilt calls, it's a lot of people just happen to go through that. But it's important to remember that a lot of times, sometimes it's just not the right person, and you can't put all that blame onto yourself, because it takes two to have a relationship. So if it just so happens where things don't work out, then it's not the right one. But you still deserve to be happy and be able to move on from that, and understand that I still deserve love, and
Right.
I still
But
deserve that.
but also too, don't be a fool and enable people.
Yeah.
Don't stick around too long with dealing with foolishness and people who are not receptive. Like again,
Right.
you may feel guilty about that as well. The fact that you have to also take accountability in that as well. I believe
Yeah.
if you stay too long, or that
Hmm.
you dealing with somebody who's not worthy of you, or someone who's
Right.
not trustworthy, someone
Right.
who's not loyal,
Right.
and you still hang around. So that goes to that sunken cost fallacy thing again. So you do have to, don't beat yourself down about it. Learn from that.
Yeah,
That
certainly.
about all that time that may have been wasted, and particularly to this young lady. I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure there was a lot of red flags that she probably saw along the way, maybe on both parts. But
Yeah.
don't if you all can't come to an agreements to try to work things out, or
Yeah.
be intentional with each other, and try to make the best of the relationship, then
Yeah.
don't waste each other's time and resources. Don't do that.
Right.
Try to get yourself better, pick yourself back up, and make yourself better than what you were in the past relationship, so that you're
Hmm.
ready for the next one.
Yep. Some people also feel relief from a breakup as well. And that's an important emotion to recognize as well, too, because you will feel relief over the fact, especially if the relationship just wasn't working. If it was a lot of heartache, a lot of pain, a lot of toxicity within the whole thing, it's going to feel good to kind of be in a point where, you are now free to pursue other things, other relationships, to, all of that. Acknowledge that feeling of relief, because that will offer you, some hope, and at the same time allow you to grieve the loss that, whew, that was a tough situation that I just, came
Hmm.
through, so that's important to recognize that feeling as well. And that's one of those that should hopefully help you feel a little better in the, long
Hmm.
run of things.
Yep, and then desperation. So some people may feel desperate after a breakup. They may try to win their ex-spouse back again, or they may engage in self-destructive behavior. It
Yeah.
is important to remember that you will get through this, and that you deserve to be with someone who loves you and respects you.
Mhm.
Normally, people don't try to go back to a past relationship that fails. But ultimately, you see a lot of times with guys who cheat in the relationship, and they want their spouses back. You may see that, but
Mhm.
and then you'll see an act of desperation.
Or women too, because women that statistically women cheat right along the
Long
same
same
statistically,
with men.
rate,
Yep.
yeah, as men. So that's often true if a woman, realizes, oh man, I lost me a good man because I done out here being crazy. So it can go both ways.
But do
But yeah,
women really try to win their men back? I haven't seen that. I haven't seen enough of that of women who've cheated and try to win their
yeah,
men back, because most of the a lot of times men don't want them back after they've cheated, because it's just the thought of them cheating and being dominated by another man in
yeah,
the bed and all that stuff. We don't like to entertain that. But
yeah.
often
Oh,
at
I'm sure
times
it's
I
a
would see,
humbling experience for sure for the
oh
women that
yeah,
have to do that, like because you gotta,
right.
you know.
And and then how much, that's an interesting dynamic. I don't know. I would like to talk to somebody who a relationship, or somebody who where the woman cheated and how they made things work.
Mhm.
Because as a man, that'd be very difficult for me.
To get there, yeah.
Yeah, to get through that.
And that's the kind of the double standard that exists, because that's true for a lot of men. Like you said, the men are very territorial. So when you
Right.
take the aspect of somebody else came into your territory and messed with your stuff, you kind of want to leave that stuff then where it's at. So
Right.
now, I mean, I get that. I totally understand that. So,
Right.
but yeah,
So yeah,
it
it's
just
that's
depends,
tough.
probably separate situational
Right.
to where, yeah, if a person is desperate to get back with their ex, or maybe even just desperate in general for a new relationship, so you can start just try to rebound in the sense of going out on a lot of dates or meeting a lot of guys that you shouldn't probably be so quick to rush into a relationship, and that can kind of wreak desperation in a way, especially if you're not ready, if if you're doing things that clearly show you're not over your relationship, your past relationship, and you're just out here trying to use someone else to pass the time. So that's one way too.
Whew.
But eventually most people get to the last part of kind of the emotional roller coaster, and that's acceptance. You have to accept a breakup and move on, especially if it was ultimately for the best. If you all, of course, we're talking about not married people, so you all realize that this wasn't in alignment with what you both wanted for your, happiness. So that's, a great time to accept that and make peace with that, and just allow yourself to heal and find happiness again with yourself, and then also to be able to pursue another relationship. But of course we do kind of want to get into the aspect of this lady. I wanted to point out, because it just came to my mind, the whole thought of when you're in a breakup, how often your negative internal thought will have you convinced that I'm just done, I ain't doing this whole dating thing.
Oh yeah, and you see that a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, some older people, a lot of older people who've been in relationships and it failed. A lot of them give up because
Yeah.
you know, they're some of them are they feel as if their self-esteem isn't
Mm-hmm.
there. They're not physically fit to get back into the dating scene, and or they don't trust being the fact that they will find somebody who's right for them, either they know they themselves are not right and fit for relationships, and they don't even want to try.
Right.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I
that's so
can see
true.
that.
But that's usually the crossroads that you get to after you've hit the acceptance part. Then you're faced with the choice of, how do I prepare for another relationship? How do I prepare my mind, my body, my heart, all of this?
Right.
Or, do I run away? And a lot of people, choose to run away, like you're
Yeah,
saying.
or either they don't even really think of it that way to prepare
Yeah.
themselves for another
Right.
relationship. They just try to see what's out there, and this, like you said, play the field
Mm-hmm.
and fall into a relationship
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
It could happen that way too. That ain't that's normal as well. But what we're
Yeah.
trying to project here, and what get people to understand, is that it's better to prepare. So have the mindset of actually wanting to, all right, get myself better. Let me shake
Mm-hmm.
off these emotions. Let me get physically fit. Let me
Mm-hmm.
get my mind right and my spirit right, so that I
Yeah.
can actually pursue with intention of wanting to get married to someone one day.
Right. And that's important so that you don't misuse your time. You utilize your time correctly after a breakup, because if not, then you will get so wrapped up in this negative voice. You'll get so wrapped up in being down and out. You'll get, that you just completely aren't utilizing your time in a way that's going to prepare you for
Right.
the next relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
instead, you're not preparing yourself, and in fact you're probably getting yourself in a worse hole than you want to be to move on. So that's just one thing to really consider. But I do want to cover quickly though, if you don't mind, like just
Go
the
ahead.
whole aspect of us together, just the whole aspect of why people do choose to run away from trying to get into a relationship again, because I see that often when it comes to the dialogue of a person's or the mindset of a person after a breakup. It's quite negative, and it's like, I'm just going to not, I'm gonna run away. I'm not gonna engage in another relationship. I'm not gonna actually put myself out there. So again, we're really big on our channel about awareness. And in order to recognize that if this is something that I'm doing, we have to present to you the awareness of what this could look like if you actually do find yourself possibly running even away from considering a whole nother relationship, or even your happiness within what you genuinely truly want, all because of, unhealed wounds that you really have to shed light on so that you can address them and, move forward. So the first one would be pain avoidance. The whole emotional intensity of a breakup, kind of like what we just went through, all the emotions that you go through and ride as you try to heal from a breakup. This can make people want to avoid even doing that and engaging in that. Like this lady, she's kind of like, this is too much. Like, this is intense. What do I do? Like, how do I get away from it? How do I stop it? And it's good to acknowledge that, because you want to have that opportunity to realize, like, all right, I am in this stage of a breakup, and these are the emotions that I have to, come into awareness in. So then that way I'm not avoiding that pain, which is ultimately going to stunt you from healing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then next we have the unhealed emotional wounds.
Mm-hmm.
So if a person has unresolved emotional issues from their past, they may be more likely to run away from another relationship.
Yeah.
For example, if someone was abandoned by a parent as a child, they may be afraid of being abandoned again in a relationship. This fear can lead them to avoid getting close to anyone else.
Yeah, those attachment styles that we talked about, or just looking at your trauma in the past. If you're more likely to be a person who will just say, "Oh, nope, I'm done. I'm not doing this again." We talked about. I think this was Monday, the attachment styles.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite sure, but that was a great video for a lot of people to really be able to recognize, like, hey, how did my childhood affect how I actually process and heal in relationships and move forward? So sometimes, getting hurt or rejected will make you just, push people away after after having that experience. But it's important that you're able to maintain a healthy relationship, even if your feelings do get hurt, even if you are rejected or upset by something that your spouse does. That's an important lesson to learn, to be able to be forgiving and compromise and understanding from the whole thing.
Yeah. And then also to fear of commitment. So after a breakup, some people may be afraid of getting hurt again. They may worry that they will not be able to trust their spouse, or that the
Mm-hmm.
relationship will not work out. So
Yeah.
this fear of commitment can lead them to avoid getting into another relationship altogether.
Yeah.
Fear of commitment, or either just not wanting to commit.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Just be
what
the
did
forever player.
right, exactly. So yeah, exactly. You have that also as well. I mean, that's by choice if that's what you want to do, but be prepared for all the karma and all the heartbreaks that go along with that too. And
Especially if it's not what you really want. If you genuinely want to have a spouse and want to be in a relationship, you can try to convince yourself with all the women in the world, that, oh, I'm not ever going to commit. But genuinely deep down inside, you're not going to be happy. You're
right,
rejecting yourself, something that you very well are worthy of, all because of, a past relationship, something that hurt you. And every relationship is different. So what happened in your previous relationship may not happen again in your next relationship. And you certainly don't want to just think about, just because this one didn't work out, then the next one's not going to work out and all the other ones are doomed to fail, because hey, that's just going to create that cycle for you. So it's really important of, your whole mindset and how you're looking at whether or not you're actually going to go out and prepare yourself for a next relationship. Yeah.
yep. And there are still good people out there. So there are plenty of good people in the world who are looking for love and marriage. Don't give up on finding your soulmate just because one person didn't work out for you. So
Yeah.
but that's the search,
Hmm.
that's the challenge that you have to
Take on.
be committed to, and trying to find somebody who's willing to work with you.
Yeah. 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 And that's, I think about like a lot of, truth be told, a lot of people want to kind of be like, oh, well, no, I don't need a spouse or anything like that. Like, I'll be fine by myself. But when I look at the economy, just in general, and like the way our economy is going, it's really beneficial now more than ever to just have a spouse and actually to have someone to go through life with.
Right.
Like, it's just I I feel for single people in this time where you don't have anyone to like build with and help you along in the way. So it's worth it, I think, in my opinion, for you to be open to having a spouse to, support you. Because even if we're thinking just financially alone, it can be really hard within the society for some people on a single income to make ends meet, especially if you consider kids and other factors into the matter. If you have a spouse, you are able to contribute together to your finances, whether that's shared expenses or help with childcare, or just even the option of being able to elevate each other in your careers by finding your way of supporting each
Each
other,
other. Yep.
whatever it is. It's so much easier if you are able to be open to the idea of building with someone, actually having a spouse who will not only help you financially but emotionally as well. That's great during this time where we think about COVID, people was in the lockdowns and stuff. People just really wanted that connection of with
Right.
another person. We're social beings.
I mean, and also too in the aspect of older age.
Yeah.
What does a lot of us don't look that far as retirement goes. So if you have both the man and the husband being the
The
fact,
man and the
I
woman.
mean, the man and the woman making, working, so they're both contributing to their retirement. At least that they will have something more for their retirement as opposed to just being alone. So
Hmm.
that's one aspect that I always push too, because now retirement involves a part-time job. So
Yeah.
if you all are able to work and then build some sort of residual income while you all are growing and marry and being progressing rather in the
Right.
relationship, then you will have a shot of actually retiring without having to work again. And a lot of people don't realize that the aspect of old age and growing with somebody and being in a relationship, it really helps out in those older years, those elder years. um
Someone says, he said, I'm sorry, I missed the, for some reason why it's not showing the top part. Did I miss that? And he's just asking, are one of us a therapist or something? No, this is life experience. That's why, honestly, we do this, because it's the life experience that we have learned and gone through. And um,
right, we're not necessarily therapists. You can say that we can help consult other
yeah,
people as far as relationships go. So we have a
yeah,
lot of experience doing that,
yeah,
consulting people who are in,
coaching.
right,
Yeah.
helping people trying to navigate their relationships or either issues, other family issues. But experience alone is
Yeah.
enough, because you want to make sure that if you're in the realm of dating or in the realm of marriage, you want to make sure that you actually consult with people who are actually married themselves successfully,
Hmm.
and have all of the intentions of also wanting to see the better for you as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah.
So that is where we draw our wisdom together and apply it to anyone who may have questions or any other issues or topics.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think it's our way of, we always say this is our way of giving back, because we have learned so much, grown so much, gone through a lot between the both of us and the lifetimes that we have lived. It's certainly um, a great opportunity to be able to then help somebody to
Yep.
take that wisdom and knowledge that we've
Yeah.
done.
And then how
Zoom
did we
in.
learn so much? I've all like I said, we've been I've ever since, college, just looking up things and then talking to friends and
Yeah.
helping them, and then seeing results, seeing, just being vigilant and aware, and
Hmm.
drawing, like I said, wisdom from our lives, because we've
Hmm.
seen a lot of brokenness, and then also too a lot of happiness as well.
Yeah, and having the courage to even heal ourselves.
Right.
Once, that's the beautiful thing about, also too, we had to recognize our ability to come from where we have come from, and then to do and make so much more out of that just helps us to understand anyone else who has also gone through, similar things, going through similar things, the positions that you're at. We understand that because we were there. We can relate, we get that, and then we've also done the work to come out of that. So it just offers that perspective of being able to help from that, drawing from our own experience, conscious awareness. And plus, when God tell you to do something, you do it. That's just me that way. Anyways, let's head back into particularly how you can utilize your time more wisely, so that you can actually get through a breakup and learn from your mistakes and actually grow and position yourself to be aligned with the person that you're supposed to be with, the legit person, the one that, you've done the thought process into making sure that this is the one for you. I think Breakup in particular offers a beautiful opportunity for you to be able to, find clarity. And that's really what you're trying to do so that you can make the most of your time and move forward. So here's some quick little tips that you can do overall.
Yep, you want to avoid dwelling on the past, of course,
Mm-hmm.
as much as you can. So, make yourself occupied and do things that make you feel good. So, when you're going through a breakup, it's easy to get stuck in the past and focus on all the negative things that happen. So, however, this can be very counterproductive
Yeah.
and can make it difficult to move on. So by focusing on the present and the future, you can start to heal and rebuild your life. So catch those thoughts, try to cast those thoughts out. And like I said,
Mm-hmm.
do a lot of whatever makes you happy, as far as your hobbies and
Mm-hmm.
things to occupy yourself.
Yep. Yep. But certainly, of course, take that time to heal. Especially with this young lady, she's recognizing, like, wow, this is a lot. I'm going through a lot. So it would be, crazy to not be realistic of where you're at within your breakup, where, what you're really feeling, the emotional experience that you're having. You have to take the time to heal yourself before you get right back out there and try to start a whole nother relationship. But that's exactly the way to go about it, to healing yourself, is to actually put yourself in environments that are going to make you feel good,
Mhm.
that's going to help you to enjoy yourself and enjoy life and be grateful and thankful for everything that is in your life. And that's so true. By putting yourself physically in those environments, getting out, spending time with friends, family, doing your hobbies, things you enjoy,
Right,
working on your emotional health, that's really a great way of overall healing.
right. And then also, yep, reflecting. So this means that you may need to reflect on your past relationships. So take
Yeah.
some time to reflect on your past relationships and what you've learned from it. What were the good things that about those relationships, and what were the bad things that, and also what would you do differently in your next relationship. So the self reflection portion of this, be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Especially if it was something that you've done. Be honest about all the negative things that you did do, and then also to try to correct those things. Make yourself better, even for the next relationship. Make yourself better for yourself, and then also for the next person that you will come across in your life. Because if you know that you're not good at communicating,
Mm-hmm.
you're a horrible communicator, um, and you just do not know how to be supportive in communicating, then those are things you honestly need to work on. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, and those are maybe the reasons why you may have pushed somebody away into a breakup, or what have you. But
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
definitely one of the keys,
Yep. Working on your
because
communication
a lot of
skills.
us don't communicate well, or have a good reference of what that looked like, because we come from broken homes, or either single families,
Yeah. And it's essential for a healthy relationship. Like, you
or
got to get over that.
single parent
Yeah.
homes,
Yeah.
households.
And you got to get over that. Like, you really do. And so that you can be actually able to communicate in a healthy way. For example, like, if you had trouble communicating with your ex, you really have to take that time. In particular, if you find out that, looking at my past relationship, this has been a pattern, this has been something that you've gone through, then you got to take that time to, whether that's reading books, watching videos, I don't know, taking a communication class, or simply just practicing with your friends or your family, or other supportive people around you who can actually help you build that communication skill. That is really, really important. So Yeah, I like that you said that
Yeah,
for sure.
thank you. And then breakups can be painful, of course. So they can also be a time of growth. So when you go through a breakup, you are forced to face your own pain and to deal with your emotions. This can be difficult. This can be a very difficult process, but it can also help you to become stronger and more resilient.
Yes. Yep. And it's real learning experience too. That
Oh
growth,
yeah.
that
I-
opportunity for that.
right. And understand that this is very normal. This is very human. You don't
Yeah.
get better at something unless you fail at it.
Yep.
And the whole thing, that's really what it's about. It's also a an opportunity, like we've been saying, for you to get better as a person.
Hmm.
And don't try to count yourself out in relationships. Like, I encourage people to try again, but just be more aware, be more vigilant in the type of person you're dealing with, and also yourself. If you finding that you are losing control of your emotions, and the way you communicate is not up to par, reel
Hmm.
yourself in, and
Hmm.
to let yourself know that, yeah, these are the things that I did to break up my last relationship. I shouldn't be doing this stuff.
Yeah.
Be honest with yourself. Be intentional about who you're dating, and trying to build with your person that you're talking to.
Yep. And look for what you could have done differently. I think that's a huge part, especially when it comes to your past. If you can look back and really kind of rewrite what you would have wanted to do differently, how you could have gone about that differently, what you will do next time if you are faced with that situation, it's like giving yourself the opportunity to prepare. And then, it helps you avoid making the same mistakes in the future and helps ease that anxiety about, oh no, I really don't want this to happen again. So, if you're able to mentally give yourself that opportunity of reflecting and learning and growing and seeing how it could look different, that would really be helpful.
Yeah. So when you are in a relationship, it can be easy to overlook your own needs and wants. So
Yeah.
after a breakup, you have the opportunity to step back and reflect on, and identify what you really want in the spouse and in the relationship.
Hmm.
So this can help you to make more informed decisions about your future relationships.
Yeah.
What are the qualities you are looking for in a spouse? What are your deal breakers? It is important to be clear about what you want in your next relationship before you start dating again. Set boundaries,
Hmm.
prepare a marriage vision of what
Hmm.
you want the roles to look like,
Yeah.
making sure that you are in an agreement before you actually move further deeper into your relationship. Often
Hmm.
at times relationships fail because the roles are not communicated.
Yeah.
Often at times misunderstood. Oh, I didn't know that you wanted me to stay at home and watch the kids, or what have you. Like, you really need to establish all of that in this day and age about
Hmm.
what each of you all expect, understanding what your expectations are for each other, to see if you can all actually make it. It's not about trying to break somebody in and making them
Hmm.
do what you say that you want them to do. That
Hmm.
doesn't work. That does not work in this day and age. It doesn't. So you really have to be intentional, understand um, what your barriers are, and making sure that you both have a clear understanding about each other's intentions.
Yeah, and be willing to walk away if that
Yeah,
person doesn't,
exactly.
if that person shows any
Early,
inkling, yeah, that
walk
they're
away
not for
early.
you. Hmm.
If they can't, now understand this though, not everybody's going to check all the boxes. It's all
Right.
about compromising. So if you're finding somebody who's, as a man, if you're finding a woman who can cook, clean, and help you and be supportive, to me, that should be enough, especially if she's supportive and knows how to take care of you. And then you're likewise as well, being supportive and being a provider and a protector
Yeah, help
for
her to
her.
understand what you need from her,
Right,
in particular when it comes to trying to decide that, I
right.
think.
The amount of money. If you're looking for somebody who makes a certain amount of money, good luck. Because often at times you're not going to find that. And I say that because on average, Americans don't make but so much. I think around what, 55,000 a year. That's on average. So if you're looking for somebody who makes six figures, that's in the top, what, 9% now. I think 9%, 9 to 10% of Americans. So that's roughly about, what, out of what, 300 million people, what, 10% of that is what, 30 million. So
In the
that,
United States.
yep, in the
Okay.
United States. So roughly 30 million. That's what, 10% of 300, yeah, 300 million. So
And depending on your location, that could really, dwindle that down. Yeah.
yeah, depending on where you at too.
Yeah.
So
So be realistic about those deal breakers.
yeah, be realistic about those intentions, those deal breakers,
Yeah.
because don't do, no, salary is not it. Now, what you can do is help pour into that person and help them to get that salary.
Yeah,
You really
especially in this
can.
economy. I think
Yeah,
that's big. That's
yeah,
two people coming together is so much better than one person.
right,
Two people coming together to work it out is, I
right.
think, better, and it gives you more of a chance
And,
to succeed.
and that's if the woman is wanting to be a stay-at-home mother. And then also too, she has to understand the roles and understand what that entails. It's not just staying at home and just watching TV all day. No,
Right.
that doesn't work, because you still have to prepare, make sure the home is nice, when the husband gets home and food is cooked after he's been out a long time, and be okay with that. A lot of people don't understand these roles now. All of that has been lost in these past decades. What that traditional family looks like, and not a lot of women would actually want to do these type of duties anymore. So
Yeah, and I mean, truth be told, people have to be honest about what that looks like to get there as well.
right,
Like, I
exactly,
always had the envision of wanting to be a stay-at-home mother, but I also knew that it wasn't going to be something I just walk into. So you
right,
have to be okay with taking those steps, whether that is helping elevate your husband, your
right,
man, and getting him to a different space so that you are in a better environment to be able to do that and take full advantage of the opportunity to stay at home and stuff. So yeah, just being mindful and aware of all of that is big too.
right, and help each other as much as you can, because that helps to bring strength to the relationship. So
Yeah, but we kind of digress slightly a little bit.
yeah,
But what I was thinking, when we're talking about how breakups can be painful in general, and how it's a difficult process to kind of go through, but once you have gone through it, it really can make you stronger. In particular, one thing that I really think is huge, especially after a breakup, is to work on your self-esteem, because having going through a breakup can really take a blow to your self-esteem and what you feel like you're worthy of. You can really start to question your worthy, or even your ability to achieve your goals, or be with the spouse. So it's really important to do those things that will help give yourself those boost of positive thought about yourself, and how you can work on yourself and move from the past into a whole better reality. So certainly take the time to work on your self-esteem, and build yourself up if you know that you are not in the position to take on a wife. You're not financially ready, you're not physically ready, or as a woman, if you're not ready to take on the role as a husband, your work ethic is crap, you're not disciplined, like you have structure, or anything like that with your life, then that's certainly one thing that you want to try to get for yourself now, and garner and build up for yourself now before you actually enter into a relationship, because it's going to make it 10 times easier than if you're already in that routine of being hardworking and disciplined and a healthy communicator. That's a huge one.
yes,
Yeah, because you want to be able to resolve conflict in a
in a
healthy way.
relationship. Yep.
Yeah.
So learn to resolve conflict in a healthy way. Conflict is inevitable in any relationship.
Yeah.
It is important to learn how to resolve conflict in a healthy way. This means being able to communicate your needs and wants effectively, listening to your spouse's point of view, and finding solutions that work for both of you.
Yeah.
This is like a bias of mine. I think that single children, they probably struggle the hardest in this in relationship.
Only child, like the only child
Yeah,
syndrome.
the only child.
I think that depends. I was the only child, but I grew up a little hard, so I didn't really. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
those are
that's kind
things
of
that
the
you had to,
exceptions.
yeah,
Yeah,
work
yeah.
through.
Well, I had no choice. It wasn't about me, my growing up. So,
Right.
that's a little different. But,
Yeah, because I
I do
need you
get
to
that.
communicate with me.
Right. I get that. No, yeah, because that's true. Like with the whole thing of when you in a single, was it? I'm thinking of you. You said single child, but only child.
Only
When you're
child
in
syndrome.
yeah. When you're in that type of environment, and it's just you don't have anybody to talk to or
Right,
conflict resolve with or
right. Then it's
anything.
easy to fall into like selfishness and all of that.
Mhm.
I mean, that's easy. Being the single, the only child. Keep saying single child. I'm tired
Yeah,
tonight. Long week.
yeah,
Um, and
that
then
is true.
and the next is trust building.
Yep.
So try trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship, same as communication. So if you had trust issues in your past relationship, take some time to work on building trust with yourself and others.
Mm-hmm.
This can also involve being more honest with yourself and with others, keeping promises and being reliable,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like building up
being
those,
mature.
yep, and those characteristics for
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah, being
Mm-hmm.
mature and being honest with yourself about you, being time scheduling, being honest with your scheduling and showing up on time, stuff like that. That helps
Mm-hmm.
build your trust with yourself,
Yep.
and what have you.
Your promises, like you said. I'm trying to think of like
Right.
any
And then,
other ways
I
you
mean,
could.
this makes me think of like cheating, and then how society is saying, like, men naturally cheat. No, you don't. That's a choice. Cheating is a damn choice. And I saw this one video of like this African lady trying to explain that men have so much sperm or whatever the case may be, and biologically we cheat. But yeah, but the thing is that makes us separate from that is that we are not animals. So we
Right.
don't naturally, we just don't go about and just be doing whatever we want to do, just like you see animals
Yes.
out there.
Yes.
Um we actually have free will to think and also to make choices.
A consciousness, like
A
a higher
consciousness, a higher
consciousness.
consciousness,
Yeah, the
exactly.
ability to be discerning and
Right.
disciplined. That's what
Discipline,
separates the man
discipline.
from the animal. You're so
Right.
true. I do not like that either. Like they just say, like, oh, men are so they have no control. They're just like animals. They just like to mate all over the place, and it's not natural for a man to not do this.
No.
Sure, the animal and the man, sure, but that's what God actually gave to man to uplift him above the animal kingdom and to give him dominion. Is to have that a forethought of being disciplined, that
Right.
structure of choosing, how you're going to go about your life and creating that dynamic.
Right. Right. Exactly. Because yeah, I saw that, and like so many people liked that comment and stuff. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, that made I understand the biology of it, but I don't think I don't operate on an animal
Right,
um
uncontrollable instinct.
instincts. Yeah,
Yeah,
my instincts are controlled. They're calculated and they're thought out and they're accurate.
yeah.
So
And
that's
man
what
has that ability, and I think it's so insulting for people just to be like,
right
oh,
to say
men
that
can't
about
be
men.
faithful.
Right.
Like, so you could say the same thing. If that's the case, and a woman is the same. Well, and that's why you see statistically women and men cheat at the same
Right.
rates. It's because they're giving into that lower self, that lower animalistic self. The whole purpose, though, is to rise above that and to actually gain that control and to choose to be higher than the animal kingdom. Don't reduce yourself to an animal just because
Right.
biologically are a mammal. We get it. Like, okay. Yeah, we hadn't digressed on that. But yeah, that's so true. That is so, so true.
Yep. And then
Yep.
also to be willing to forgive. So everyone makes mistakes. So if you hold on to grudges, you will not be able to move on and have a successful relationship. So be willing to forgive. To be willing to forgive. I'm sorry, I lost my space. Be willing to forgive your spouse for making them for their mistakes, and ask for forgiveness when you make mistakes yourself.
Mm.
So understand that grudges by far opens doors for competition in the relationship, and you don't want to feel like you're walking on eggshells. So everyone makes mistakes, even if someone cheated and you're trying to make things work and trying to fix it. Like I said, for a man it's probably harder. It can be done though. It can
Mhm.
be done. And for women, I see it more often that they forgive their husbands or boyfriends or whatever for cheating. But you have to, like I said, be mature, and you owe your spouse all of that attention, time, and loyalty and respect. If you've done them wrong, you have to rebuild yourself and prove that you are not the same person that you were before. Of course, it's going to take time, but you have to do it. You have to do it. And
Yeah, I wouldn't be with somebody though, but they cheated prior to marriage. I wouldn't. I mean, unless I don't know, like you said, they would have to come back a whole new person.
I mean, yeah, you have to be discerning. You
Yeah.
have to be very guarded about that person, and they will really have to show you if they really want to be with you or not.
Yeah.
Not to abuse that person and see how much they can take from you.
Yeah.
No, not at all, because no one deserves that. But at the same token, they have to be tried and tested and understand that, hey, because you messed up in the past, you have a lot to prove to me to win my loyalty and my trust. So
Right.
you just don't, trust is earned. You just don't give yourself to anybody just because they want you. You know,
Right.
you have to earn, trust is earned. So
Mhm.
also too, be patient. Along with that, be patient. Relationships take time and effort to build. So don't expect your next relationship to be perfect right away. It's not. And be patient and with yourself and with your spouse, and allow the relationship to grow naturally. That makes me think of when those women say that they want an already built man with everything, a house, a six-figure income, and all of that stuff. All of that stuff took time and patience. And a lot of men, I think we said this before, the majority of millionaires are married. They were already married before they became millionaires, and they have a higher risk of marriage. I'm not higher risk, but they have a higher rate of being actually married already. I think it was 80%. 80% of millionaires and billionaires are married.
Mhm.
And that took patience and teamwork
Mhm.
to get to where they were.
Yeah, that's why we recommend that people do consider getting married,
Married.
and because you will increase you with the right person, you are able to increase your financial capabilities 10 times
Right.
more.
And that
Like,
goes back to what I was saying about retirement. You have
mhm.
retirement outlooks looks way better if you're married.
Yeah,
You have that extra help. You have someone who's being resourceful. I mean, if you're married to the right person, don't get me wrong,
right. That's
then
why we always talk about discerning.
right,
We work
discernment.
and we try
Right,
to give you all the tools for that because
right,
that's important
right.
for sure. It
But
really
it's a
is.
better, you have a better outlook that way. So
Yeah.
it can help you to find your own happiness. So when you are in a relationship, it can be easy to lose sight of your own happiness. After a breakup, you have the opportunity to focus on yourself and to do the things that make you happy. This can help you to rediscover your own identity and to find your own happiness.
Yeah, that's important. I think after a long breakup, for particular like this lady who wrote in, after you've had this long 6 years that you were in a relationship, I think a lot of this time needs to be spent on finding things that make yourself happy and how you can raise yourself to actually be open to receiving, you're new, and you that's never going to come if you're not, if you're down, if you're sad, if you're depressed, like it makes it so much harder to actually be able to open yourself up to new opportunities and new experiences. So, like it.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
So, and then next, seek help if needed. So if you're struggling to cope with a breakup or to prepare for a successful marriage, don't be afraid to seek help from a happily married couple, like us. So another therapist or counselor, and having a third party like us can help you to process your emotions, develop healthy coping mechanisms, and set yourself up for success in your next relationship. So
Yeah.
we also offer consultations as well, that you can find it on my wife's wifeconomics.com website, where the consultation section is. So we do offer private consultation sessions dealing with um, other areas of your life, and we give more attention and detail to those as well.
Develop strategies. I
Yeah,
like to think because every situation is going to be different, especially after a breakup, where you're at, how the breakup ended, where you're at in general terms of where you want to be and how you can get there. Just
right.
actually being objective and having someone to develop strategies with you. That's really helpful. So, that is certainly something to consider if you are struggling overcoming this. But, I think overall with this young lady, if she's able to go back, and anyone else watching about going through a breakup, if you're able to go back and take down notes and go through the steps that we've talked about, I think you'll really be able to overcome everything and grow and learn what you need to learn so that you can stay positive and optimistic and utilize your time wisely, really, so that you can actually align yourself to be with the person you're meant to be with, not, be stagnant.
Right. Yep. So that's cool, because tonight we laid down the blueprint for breakups,
Mm.
and how to get yourself together for that.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever talked about breakups per se. I mean, we've done on and off again relationships. I
No,
remember a couple
yeah,
of relation
yeah,
questions like
how
that.
to get out of arguing over and over again and on and off again relationships. Yeah, we did. I do remember that. but never one on breakups and how to basically rebound and how to get yourself together and gather yourself and make yourself better for the next one,
Yeah.
next relationship. So it's not over yet. So you just get back on the horse and ride, right?
Yep. Well, any questions? Oh, I do see an Instagram request to join. I'm gonna take that. That go up. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna pull it up on that thing. Hold on.
Hey, how you doing? All right.
Oops.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Right, right. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, and that's one of the that's something that we wanted to do, and we knew that too. I mean, a lot of positive things don't make
Front page news.
headlines.
Yeah.
They don't make
Yeah.
headlines,
That wasn't our goal
and
though.
that ain't
So.
our goal. You know, so and a matter of fact, I would hope that other people do what we're doing. And there's not enough people doing that out here, because what we're trying to do is attack those statistics of divorce, attacks the statistic of children growing up in single parent homes, and how it's important, because we didn't have this information growing up. And me and my wife thought that it would be great to actually bestow wisdom on people and give them the blueprint of areas where we didn't know, you know, get much help in. So that is the whole thought here. It never was about, you know, how many likes and views we could get. It's more so having a testament, and then also to having the information posted somewhere that maybe our children would see this, or their children, our grandchildren would see this and use this information moving forward.
Or other people's kids and
Right.
stuff.
Or other
Yeah.
people's children that, or, you know, 100 years from now,
Yeah.
you know, just having this information on the internet somewhere that has you know, this information, so that people could actually use it to see what works, what really does work.
And to offer advice from a genuine space. I think a lot of people are so focused on just, highlighting the bad and not really wanting to help.
Right.
But we've gotten to the point where we realize, like, if we can help create a better world for our children to live in by actually helping people create families, then, it's a win for everyone in the end.
Yeah. Right. Hmm. Well, I mean, first you got to figure out why you get angry, though. Um, you know, you got to really, now a good woman will allow you to vent your frustration and angers before you actually get to the point of being angry.
Yeah,
You
she
know,
shouldn't bring the worst out of you. A good woman should not bring the worst out of you.
right?
What happened?
Where
Where'd
you
you go?
go? You still there? Right. No, yeah, I agree there too. But I mean, I think both women, men and women, can actually destroy things physically around them,
Yeah,
and then
nowadays, yeah.
yeah, and also too, like words,
Yeah.
words are can be blessings or a curse. So
Hmm.
you do have to be intentional about what you want to say and be careful about how you say it. So it really can hurt or either build someone up. No, yeah, definitely. And then that's the thing that we have to govern the words that we say. We have to be make sure that we mean those words. Be impeccable with your words,
Hmm.
and that is something that is true. Yes, and then also too in relationships, you should also use your words as encouragement to help support your spouse and help bring them up and help for them to be better. You know,
Yeah, I think women know. Women honestly know, and men too, like what to say to get on your. Especially, I think women in particular, because we live in our heads a lot. So
right? Yeah,
you'll
that's
figure out
true.
what to say to get under your skin.
Yep.
But all right.
But all right. But yeah, I mean, but go ahead. Right. Right.
Yeah.
What? Well, I mean, one thing that you all could have done was, counseling, or because counseling and talking about the problems, um, and trying to find what closure. If it's something that she kept bringing up over and over again, she needed closure for that. And to be honest with you, sometimes you won't be able to, I guess, mediate that because you're the actual person that she's trying to get closure about. So often at times a third party or someone else who could help you to articulate, I guess, for her what she needs to understand about what had happened would be the
Mhm.
best thing to have done. A lot of us don't utilize a third party dealing with our relationships because we like to keep our relationships and our issues behind closed doors. But often at times, what would help is some sort of counseling, consulting, another married couple or somebody to talk to who can mediate in between you all to help her to understand and for her to move on, and that would possibly would have helped or would help the situation, to be honest with you.
But you also don't want to be with somebody who constantly puts you down. That's a
Right, but that's
big, yeah,
right,
thing that you gotta get through.
but
Not
if that
do.
was the issue, then the mediator or somebody who's talking with you all would be able to point that out for her,
Yeah.
that this is something that you really need to move past in order to
Mhm.
make things work. And don't try to put them down about these things, but also too, if you want to be with them, then try to figure out ways to move forward, find closure in the situation, move forward, get past it.
Yeah, in a healthy way.
Yeah, in
Mhm.
a healthy way.
Mhm.
That no, go ahead.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
No, yeah, and that's what my wife was talking about with the sunken cost fallacy, is that people who know that they shouldn't be in a relationship together often at times stay in those relationships because they have invested time, money, or resources or what have you in the relationship. And like you said, yeah, you have to recognize it and understand that, hey, it's time for me to plan an exit strategy. It's time for me to get out of this relationship because it's not productive. And not right. Yeah, rightfully so. Yeah, those are red flags of somebody who's always trying to, make you feel bad or make you feel less than who you are in a
Mhm.
relationship. That's no way to do anybody. It takes a level of maturity to actually um often at times today it takes a level of maturity to support other people other than yourself. A lot of people are selfish, so they only want to hear things about them sometimes or what have you, but they don't know, tonight is marriage fit Friday. They don't know what it takes to be marriage fit or how to be productive in a relationship. And often at times that does involve being able to support and give positive feedback to your significant other.
Mhm.
And you have to really be intentional about being in a relationship with somebody. Maybe she didn't receive that positive feedback before from, her parents or,
Mhm.
a father or, evidently she doesn't understand the dynamic of a relationship and how it works and how it's supposed to work as far as communication goes. A lot of us don't know what that looks like, being the fact that we've been raised in a single parent household. Was she raised in a single parent household? Right. Right. And that's tough too. Those are things that she really needed to get therapy for.
Mhm.
She really need that because she won't be able to have a productive relationship unless she actually tried to work towards fixing those parts of her.
Mhm.
So often at times she may take her frustrations out on you, and that's what may have been causing all of that is her
Mhm.
past, the things that she's experienced, and then using you as a way to voice her frustrations out on you. So, those things that she may have done, you really can't take those things. I don't know what she's done to you, but you can't really take it that personal because there are things that she have left unresolved and things that you couldn't fix. You would not be able to fix these things. Only someone only she would be able to fix these things, but it's through the guidance of somebody who's able to get through to her
Mhm.
and have a breakthrough with her for her to understand that she's not being productive in her life. So like for instance, if my wife comes from trauma. I come from trauma too. I was abandoned when I was 8 by my father. And my wife, she never knew who her father was, and her mother, she was raised by her grandmother, to make things short. So there were things that my wife had to work through, and things that I have to work through as well in order to be a better communicator and understanding that it's not right to take frustrations out on each other
Mhm.
for things that we didn't have anything to do with each other about. So that portion isn't fair. So those are things that you really have to understand that those were things that she had to work through alone, aside from you.
Mhm.
And often at times it could be very hard for her to get those things fixed being in a relationship
Yeah.
because she would have to really focus on herself to get those things worked out first and then make herself ready for someone and then get into a relationship.
Yeah.
So that's how it's supposed to work. Often at times people bring all that baggage and
Mhm.
with them into the relationship, and oh, you're going to have to take me for who I am. And ultimately what that happens is that it doesn't work out because you
Mhm.
don't like the way that person's talking to you. You don't like the way this person treats you, because they've been treated that way.
Well,
And
they
they
don't have a healthy relationship with themselves.
right,
Yeah.
right, and yep, and they don't have a healthy relationship, and they may be with
Mhm.
themselves. They may be insecure about themselves or who they are, or some things may happen to them in the past and they didn't like it, and they may not like themselves because of it.
Yeah, they
But
may beat themselves up. Like she usually when a person's gone through trauma, if they project, then it's
right,
like that. Yeah.
right. So and like I said again, these are things that you would not be able to help her with,
Mhm.
no matter how much you may think. Because men, we're fixers. We like to fix things. We want to know, oh, what are you going through with? Just stop thinking that way. But it's not that
Mhm.
easy. It's not that easy at all. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of work. It
Mhm.
takes a lot of correction in her daily life in order for her to get over what she been through.
Yeah.
So it's not your fault. Right. Yep. And that's coming from her trauma and what she's been through.
Yeah.
Clingy. We talked about that. She was real clingy. And that comes from
Fear of abandonment.
yep, fear of abandonment. So that's what that came from, was the fact that, she's been abandoned before, so she don't want to let you go or let you out of your sight. And yes, dealing with somebody who's been through trauma is mentally draining.
Especially if they didn't do the work.
Right.
Yeah.
Energy draining. It's stressful. It is
Yeah.
stressful, and it's real out here. It is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you bear witness to that. A lot of us have too. We've witnessed all of this stuff too, dealing with people like this. But yeah, until they actually, see this as an issue with themselves and want to get this fixed, they have to want to get this fixed, and that's the tough part. Is that you love these people, you love this person, and you want them to do better, but they also too have to want to seek help, to be better. They have to admit that they have an issue. They have to admit they have that problem first in order to get help. You know, and like I said, you're not the one to, you can tell them that they got a problem, they got an issue all day, but unless they actually go and try it themselves to go get help, it ain't gonna happen. Right. Yes. Yes, the same concept. Yes, like children. Like they'll listen to somebody else, some other adult, and then they'll stop and they'll shake them up because they were like, oh, I've heard this from somewhere else before, so it's confirming. So it goes off to them, and it's confirmed in their minds. They hear it. Oh, well, I must not be doing right then. If someone else told me this before, and that's a family member or somebody who's close to me, and then all of a sudden some stranger is telling me the same thing, then they're not crazy. So I have to take this advice. It's affirming. It's confirming, rather. It's confirming to them that I have a problem. I have an issue. I need to stop what I'm doing. And that's what I was telling you, that you won't be able to do that. Often at times their parents won't be able to do that. It has to come from somebody else. It has to come from someone else in order for people to get it. It just won't ring that bell unless someone else that they don't know rings that bell for them. So that's the tough part, though, is that you got to, they have to come to the table and be honest with themselves about issues.
Or maybe life sometimes does it.
Right. Yep. Or either something happens in their life that makes them, God forbid, something bad happens to them in their life and makes them get
Have
it.
that aha.
Yeah.
Like,
That they come to Jesus moment that, oh man, I really need to get myself together. You know.
Oh, a lot of books. I think the first one that comes to mind for me is The Knowledge of Self. I'm trying to think of who wrote that book at the top of my head. I'm kind of tired, but I know it's like The Knowledge of Self. That's a great book. I love it. I cannot think of at the top of my head. It makes me wanna. That's a yeah, that's because that just gives you the whole 360 of like understanding who you are and where you come from and how to
I forgot the book that I read.
Trying to think of that. Dang, you done dropped on us. We're gonna have to sit back and think about this. What's some other books that we really read?
One is As a Man Thinketh.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Read that book. That's a good book.
The four, what is it?
The Four Agreements.
Yeah, the Four Agreements. That's a cute, great book.
That's not a big book, but that's a good book.
That is a great book.
And it's good on communication.
Yeah.
And also with the self-awareness. Okay.
And then The Art of War. That's a good one. I always think
but that's a good one for managing conflict.
Well, yeah,
managing conflict.
That's just a perspective. Oh, and what's that other book? What's the book where it talks about the caricatures of a person, like the different what is that book? Not the darn. It's really long too because we read it and then had the audiobook, and the audiobook was like 8 or 9 hours.
You talk about that 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah, the
Not
40.
that one. But
Well,
you talk
no,
about
not
the
that one.
seduction, the art of seduction.
Yeah, maybe the art of seduction. That's a good one. Yeah.
That talks about the characteristics of people, and how to gain their respect and their approval.
Yeah.
And things like that.
I think that's a classic that anybody should have in there.
Those are very powerful books. The 48 Laws of Power, those are powerful. And the art of seduction. Read the 48 Laws of Power first, and then the art of seduction, because that would basically help you to control rooms. Rooms of people, learning who they are and their personality styles and how to gain advantage. Those are real political books.
You gotta come out. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, 48 Laws of Power.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a classic. That's definitely, everybody should read that book.
And after you read that book, The Art of Seduction.
Yeah, The Art of Seduction.
Have you read The Art of Seduction? Find that book, because that's a good supplement to that book that you got. After you read the 48 Laws of Power, is The Art of Seduction. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has some great books.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has some great books. I'm trying to think. I just finished a book too. No, yes, I have. I have. Yeah, I have. Well, it's a book I just finished. What was it? The Knowledge of Self. Write that down for sure. That is a great book too.
The Knowledge of Self. The Four Agreements.
Yeah.
And As a Man Thinketh.
Yeah. And I don't know. I just finished this book. I don't know how big you are on like the metaphysical world, but I just finished 7-8 days of practical transurfing. So it talks about multiple timelines of your life. So that's a little deeper than like, if you're into that type of stuff, like of understanding like multiple selves and like your ability to align yourself with the timeline of what you desire. It's a deeper, I don't know if you've gotten into those concepts yet, but that's something to certainly, if you want to expand your mind on creating new realities for yourself.
Like affirmation?
No, it's like transurfing. It's in the sense of, it's this concept that they came up with. It's an old book though. But the idea of having multiple timelines and your ability,
living in different timelines.
Well, yeah, and your ability to change your frequencies of what timeline you're picking up on based off of your thoughts, your actions, and what you're doing. Okay. And just in particular, how you can in 78 days switch basically to a different timeline if you're not on what you want to be.
Okay.
So yeah, it was an interesting read. It was a very interesting read, something that came across my path. So I'm always open to expanding the mind. Yep. Yeah, that's what.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Witnessed it. I witnessed it. That's
the power of thought.
Yeah, power of thought. Yeah. Putting yourself in the right vibration. Yeah, I've witnessed it. Like for instance, my mom always wanted a house. And she manifested her house and her relationship after her significant other passed away. I've seen that happen. And it often at times it happens through, tragedy of some sort, manifesting, but often at times too, we you control your thoughts. You ever think of something that you were thinking about? And a small way of doing it is you think of somebody and all of a sudden they show up or appear, or either they call you. That's a small way of manifesting. But yeah, we've witnessed it.
That book kind of goes into it, but in a different perspective of when you're thinking about manifesting something, everything that you can possibly imagine already exists in the sense of on a different timeline. So if you're able to cognitively and within your mind imagine something, then in a way you are connecting to that timeline where that once actually took place, especially if it's very clear for you. So ultimately what you're trying to do is then get yourself in agreement with that timeline, utilizing your thoughts, your behaviors, your choices, and all of that stuff so that you're in alignment to actually, have that result. So that's kind of goes into that. But that, of course, it a large portion, I think, of that has to do with your own abilities and what you believe will be true for yourself and what you truly believe like you can obtain, and coming into an alignment with like recorrecting your thoughts and stuff like that, because that definitely applies to relationships too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're gonna go ahead and call it a night. What should we call you? What's your name? Miguel. Okay. Okay, Miguel. Nice talking to you again tonight. We really appreciate your support. Um
Yeah.
and come and talk to us again another night if you feel so inclined to.
And anyone else that wants to request to join live, as you see, we're nice people. We don't
Right.
bite.
Right. And
So,
then also too, you have a wonderful weekend too.
yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. You take care now. All right. You too. Peace.
And everybody else, Blueprint family, thank y'all for tuning in. Like, this has been a nice way to end a Friday. And actually talk. We love when people are actually able to call in. That is a great thing. It helps us to gain more perspective so that we can offer some type of advice if you really need that. So certainly consider that if that is something you are wanting to do. We also have it available on our YouTube option where you don't have to be visibly on screen. You can click the restream link and it can just be a picture that you want to put up if you're shy and you don't want your face being seen. So yeah, definitely utilize us if you want for advice, solutions, and really strategies to help you move forward in your life. We're here for that Monday
Right.
through Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that being said, Blueprint family, thank you all for joining us tonight. And you all have a wonderful weekend. Peace.